During our 2 weeks in Italy, we spent one day in the Emilia-Romagna region in the cities of Modena and Bologna. And I will be upfront, it quickly turned into what feels like more of a food tour than anything. We enjoyed so much local and homemade food like tortellini in Brodo, pasta bolognese, and of course, the king of cheeses, Parmigiano Reggiano. We have said goodbye to Hannah and Josiah. Josh and I took a train from Rome to Modena, so we have the next about 4 days to just ourselves, and we're gonna go grab dinner, and then tomorrow we're doing something very, very special, something that has been on my list for so long. Also, my legs from the last 2 days of walking nearly 50,000 steps in Rome, they're fried. So if we don't do that much walking tomorrow, I won't be really mad. We ordered some wine. We ordered the house antipasto, and they came out with meat, so it's like some salami, some prosciutto, and then gnocco fritto, which are these fried breads that you can open, and you're supposed to put the meat inside the bread and eat it like a mini sausage bread. If you didn't know, eat it like a mini sandwich. So you have this little pocket, and you add your meat inside, some cheese and some jam, and then it's like a little sandwich, honestly.
It's gonna be hot. It's fresh out of the oven bread. Is that
I
fig?
don't know what jam that is.
Is that fig?
No.
It looks like fig.
I think it is, but it's a strong flavor.
Really?
I'd probably go without the fig, but everything else, so good.
Shove it all in. Good.
I took a bite of just the prosciutto.
That's the softest prosciutto I've ever found.
Yes, you usually get it in America and it's like kind of crystallized and super salty on the outside and kind of like hard. That is the best prosciutto I've ever had. I hate saying that, but like it is. Look at
It's
this.
not even close though. That's the thing. It is definitely the best, and it's not even close. It's not like the best food I've ever eaten, but it's the best prosciutto I've ever had.
This is the perfect bite right here. I could do without the fig, to be honest. I'm blown away.
I got the tortellini and brodo.
And I ordered their lasagna and just like a traditional bechamel sauce.
So you got a bunch of these little Parmesan filled tortellinis in broth. The waiter came by and said this is their most famous dish. They hand make the tortellinis every day with 36-month aged Parmesan. So he said, I don't need to put more Parmesan on it, most likely. Broth is so good. I like my Amatriciana the best, I think, out of this trip still. But the broth is hitting really good.
My mouth is watering. It looks so good. He said I would recommend putting the Parmesan on mine, so that is what I will be doing. Oh man, that is like your like typical Italian household lasagna with everything you want. The bechamel sauce is creamy. You want like those crispy bits and like everything to mesh together, and that's exactly what this lasagna is doing. And the topping of the cheese is so good. Honestly, I love a carbonara in Rome.
No, you're not gonna say it.
I love like a Florentine steak in Florence. But the food I loved most on this trip, just the like rustic style Italian cooking. So like this lasagna just tastes like home and cozy. Even the home cooking class that we did was so fun because it's just like ingredients that are fresh and thrown together from like your own two hands. Like a Florentine steak, obviously so good. But this is like something you would make at home that you would put time and effort in, and I think I appreciate that so much. Today, Josh and I are doing a Parmigiano Reggiano factory tour. And this is so exciting because number one, Parmigiano Reggiano is known to be the king of cheeses, and there are so many reasons why, but more on that later. And number two, this just feels like a very special thing to do, just the two of us. Josh and I use it all the time in our personal home cooking. I'm just excited to see where it's made, how it's made, in the region that it's specifically made. We're gonna go pick up a rental car, head to a cafe to grab some coffee and pastries, of course, and then we will make our 25-minute drive just outside Modena to the factory that we'll be touring. So real Parmigiano Reggiano can only come from the Emilia-Romagna region, and the reason why is because the cows in this region eat a very specific diet and live in a very specific climate that other cows across the world don't have. Therefore, this is the only region where real true Parmigiano Reggiano can come from, and there are only about 300 factories that produce the real Parmigiano Reggiano within this area. She gave us our, what are these even called? I feel like I'm at the doctor's office with our hair nuts. How do I look?
Super cute. I look super cute too.
Looking good. On your birthday.
There's kind of 3 stages of the Parmesan. They pump the milk in where they heat it up and add some rennet to be able to like separate the protein in the whey. I don't know the science exactly behind all of that, but they basically create the block of cheese in these big drums.
It smells like cheese.
Then they soak the block of cheese in salt water to get that brine outside. Oh my gosh, that's so good. It smells like blue cheese or just like strong cheese. Starting to harden up, salt water brine.
Yeah, it goes through a saltwater brine first, and then it sits here to dry for 2 days before the next room. So there's multiple steps of the process. And he showed us the stamp that they use when the cheese is still soft, and it literally is this thing that wraps around the whole cheese wheel. This is my Roman Empire.
They spin them and flip them in there, and they're just floating around. And then they dry them out for 2 days and put them into the aging room where there's just like, they said 16,000 wheels of cheese in there right now.
I feel like I'm walking into a national park right now.
And then they have another place that has another couple thousand for around a total of 22,000 wheels of cheese, I believe, which is crazy. All being aged at different months. And then they take a little hammer and the checker comes by and taps on it, and he can tell if there's hollow parts or wet parts or if it's aged correctly.
They send here a man that we call the beaker that comes here, and thanks by a hammer is gonna come and tap it just like this. Why does it does like this? Because the Parmigiano Reggiano and the Consorzio, for certifying the cheese, they have to be sure, and they want to be sure that inside there is the perfection. So this man, by tapping the cheese and the sound, he can understand if inside there are bubbles or cracks. Temperature and humidity. Here we only control the
If it's aged correctly, it gets approved and stamped. If it's not aged correctly, then they can sell it as a different type of cheese or a cheaper variation of it. And that room was so cool to see because there's just like Parmesan everywhere, and those wheels are so expensive. There's probably so much money just sitting in that room. And then we got to see the cows where they milk them. We have, I think, 4 different types of cows. They have the black and white cow, which is the regular one you see everywhere, brown cow, black cow,
Yeah, maybe.
and then the white cow is the special one. The 3, the white and black, the brown, and the other cow, which I'm blanking on, are similar. The red cow, I think, maybe, are similar milk wise, but the white cow produces like a more sweet and creamy milk, so they can make a special Parmesan with just the white cow's milk. We didn't get to try that, but I gotta find it somewhere and try it eventually to be able to compare it. But we tried a 24-month, a 40-month, and a 70-month cheese.
80 month.
80-month cheese.
Ricotta from this morning, he says, and cosciata cheese. It's a soft cheese. Pull apart.
That's like the cheese stick, which is super fancy. It's like string cheese, straight down to the cow.
Oh, that's delicious. So this is the 24-month. Try it plain.
That's so good.
Supposed to be sweeter, less like salty, softer.
Soft, sweeter. Love that flavor. Oh, that's so good.
We're supposed to eat the second piece with some balsamic.
Tastes just like it smells.
That balsamic is fantastic. The 40-month is sweet and salty, so you get like salt crystals in there. This one takes the reign from the last one already. 80-month.
You can taste only the crystals.
Very salty, crunchy.
Very crunchy.
Recommended to have it with honey.
For now that you have tasted all the 3, which one has the best taste?
I like the 40. I like
Yeah.
the 40.
They go up to 100 months of aging, which is just years of sitting in that room. Anything past 24 months loses its like lactose, the milk is gone. So someone who's lactose free could have that Parmesan, and then it gets really hard. So when they tap it, it sounds more like wood than like a hollow thud sound when they first got there. Amazing facility, super nice people. Glad we did it. The Parmesan was amazing.
I also really appreciated that everything they do on this farm is regenerative. They use the waste, well, they burn it first to use as energy, and then the product that comes from that they then use as fertilizer to then continue the grazing process for the cows. What is unique about this region specifically, the Emilia-Romagna region, is that this grass is unique to any other area in the world. So the cows are eating this grass, which makes their milk the way that it is, so that it can actually produce Parmigiano Reggiano, as well as the humidity in the air in this climate. It's very unique as well. So that also helps the actual Parmigiano Reggiano become what it is. And then I thought it was really neat. So there's also baby cows here, and they make sure that they're getting fed their mother's milk so that it's not just any random milk. This experience was so special. I feel like I just have a new appreciation for good quality things. Don't buy regular Parmesan, get Parmigiano Reggiano. How can you get the real thing? Because the quality is as good as it should be instead of getting the knockoff thing. And then when you see it yourself, when you're surrounded by the actual farm and the cows that are producing the milk that makes Parmigiano Reggiano, it makes you really appreciate the process and the people who are doing it. It just makes you appreciate the real thing instead of the knockoff version. And I think you can take that in life with everything, like clothing and food and yeah, everything. So this was so amazing. I'm so glad we did this. We made about an hour drive to Bologna, and through some tight streets, we finally got a parking spot and made our way over to Osteria dell'Orsa.
I don't know what that cheese is, but it's so soft and melty. Can't quite put my finger on what it tastes like though. Maybe kind of like the mozzarella, but made with a little more Parmesan in it.
It tastes like their classic Bolognese. I mean, very meaty. The noodles are handmade here with flour from this region, which is really cool. It's really good with Parmesan on top. The noodles are like nice and thick and fresh. And the meat is like very dense, but like very hearty. That pasta just felt like a classic home-cooked meal, which is exactly what I want when I'm in Italy. We have been walking around just the city center of Bologna, so we stopped into the Cathedral di San Pietro, the Basilica di San Petronia, which was so beautiful and just large in there. And then this is the Piazza
Del Nettuno.
Yeah.
Which there's a big Neptune statue with mermaids. I don't know if they're mermaids shooting water out of their boobs. Actually, did we get a video of that?
Not up close, but I think that would be, we'd have to like cover that. Bologna is beautiful, great food. We're just here for like 2 hours. We turned down this street very accidentally, literally market after market of a Parmigiano Reggiano store, a place to get legs of prosciutto di Parma. Look at this, look at this. That was my favorite street, maybe, of this whole trip. We came to a place called Vinoteca Modena. We ordered 2 things. We kind of ordered a cutting board with cold cuts and cheeses, which I'm so excited for. And then we ordered essentially a focaccia with a bunch of toppings on it. And we ordered some Aperol Spritz, which we only had at Aperitivo at our Airbnb host's house. So it's our first real one out. Happy birthday!
This is probably gonna hit because I feel dehydrated too.
So we have mortadella, prosciutto di Parma, coppa, and then this is the gnocco fritto, and then this is the focaccia that we got, which has some pancetta on it, some arugula, some parmigiano, and some balsamic vinegar, because we are in balsamic vinegar land in Modena.
This is another one of those moments I feel like new flavor unlocked. I can't tell what it is on that like pizza. I think it's the balsamic vinegar. That's like so different than the balsamic we eat at home. Try that. I have to say this so that I remember it later. I'm not gonna say it's the best thing I've ever eaten, but I would say it might be up there for the most balanced food I've ever eaten. I feel like sweetness from the balsamic, pepperiness from the arugula, saltiness from the Parmesan, softness from the prosciutto texture / crust texture, and then towards the end it gets crunchy, and so it's like soft, sweet, salty, peppery. It's like so balanced in a way. I love it.
The prosciutto here is insane. We had it last night. I just picked it up to do like a field test. It is so soft. This is I don't know.
So
I'm
different.
speechless.
The thinness and like still redness, it almost looks more like raw beef cut super thin than at home where it looks like salty and almost like dried out.
Cheers. Oh, and we have some salami. I didn't even see that hiding. To give a general explanation of the meats, if you've never had them before, mortadella is like a glorified bologna in the best way possible. The salami, you'd think like salami, it's kind of similar to how we're explaining the prosciutto, where this salami is just better than what you would get at the store because it's fresh, it melts in your mouth, it's fatty, it has flavor, there's pepper in it. And then the coppa is kind of more peppery and very fatty in the best way, but the prosciutto is just so melt in your mouth, thin, fatty, the best flavor that you could ask for. Some gelato to end the day, of course. I'm gonna miss this part for sure. Gelato, it hits. We're heading to the train station to get to Cinque Terre. We have arrived in Cinque Terre.
This is probably the best pesto, I'll be specific, I've ever eaten.
Am I a beach girl now? It's so clear. Whoa. 360 panoramic view. We're getting some seafood tonight.
This area is a national park, and I could see why, but it feels nothing like any other national park we've been to.